What else?
Extremely beautiful.
Extremely beautiful. Does it talk about not beautiful?
Yes, when woman is extremely beautiful, that's to protect her from being harassed.
Okay, that's a good point. But some men also very handsome. Why they don't cover their faces? You know, said Umar, there's one guy, he was Dahya. He was so handsome that the women were crazy about him and making poetry about him. So he told him to shave his hair. He became more handsome. He said, told him to leave Medina and go somewhere far away. Okay? So also men, they could be handsome. Anybody else? Okay? No.
كل اخ عنده كوبي الان.
ايوه.
ان شاء الله.
ممتاز.
قد الاخوه ياخذ تمر الورقه هذه على الدورة على غدا وبعد غد ان شاء الله. لانه غدا بين العصر والمغرب سيكون البراكتيكال في جامعه العابدين. فمن سيكون موجود يكتب اسمه ويكون، لانه هنا في تراو هنا فيه جامعه العابدين وفي نشاط الخيمه الدعويه يوم الاحد. فاللي باش يكون موجود يكتب اسمه ويحط كروات يقولوا باش احنا نرتبوا امورنا في
الخيمه الدعويه سيدي مسعود.
والورقه الاخرى ماذا بينا الاخوه الحاضرين يحطوا لنا الاسم واللقب والعنوان، يعني المدينه ورقم الهاتف والايميل ان شاء الله باش نتواصلوا.
Okay, now you have the notes. The question number 11. You can open that where it is. So we say that in some countries women cover, some they don't cover. So maybe they're extremely beautiful. What else?
Some women get to the higher religious level and want to be more connected, more concentrated.
Very close. But why they do that? What's the example they're following? Ummahat al-Mu'minin, the wives of Rasulullah. In the time of Rasulullah, only the wives were required to completely cover, but the other women are not required to cover. It's optional. So some women say they want to follow the example of the wives of Rasulullah because they're very pious and very, good examples. So that's why they cover. Some countries it's not because of difference of interpretation. وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ إِلَّا مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا. They should not expose their beauty except what is normally or ordinarily appearing thereof. This is where the difference comes from among the scholars. Most of the scholars say it means what is ordinary to appear is the face and the forearm, based on the hadith that Asma bint Abi Bakr, she came to Rasulullah, she was wearing some scanty clothes. Rasulullah turned his face and said, if a woman she attains puberty, nothing should be seen except he pointed to the face and the forearms. Some scholars say this hadith is da'if, but this is what basically the ground for this. The other one is the fact that many scholars from Saudi Arabia, they take the position that this verse refers to things like external jewelry. She's wearing earrings or some ring on her finger or something, external ornaments, a necklace or something like that. This is what it meant, what is ordinarily appearing thereof. So it means the face should be covered because the face is the most beautiful aspect of the woman's body. So there are two opinions. So we tell the woman she chooses what she wants. She wants to follow the example of the mothers of the believers. She wants to cover. And sometimes it's a cultural thing because if you live in Saudi Arabia, it's not all women cover. So you cannot go out without covering your face because it will be out of place. So sometimes you have the environment or the culture of the place you're staying will affect you. But technically, it's not required based on the majority opinion. Because some disagree. Some scholars disagree that the face should be covered. Some say it is optional to cover the face. And the choice is left to the woman to decide what she wants to do. Why do we have to say this? Because some Westerners think it is actually the man who forces the woman to cover. And they say that if she's married, she has to cover. She's not married, she's not to cover. That's what they think. It means that she's not coming, she's not married. She's coming, she's married. That's how they think like that, So it's not because of that. It's because of this difference of interpretation of this verse. Okay? طيب. طيب. Okay? Now, it's clear? Anybody has any questions? We'll go to the next question. Who selects the Imam, Khatib, and Muaddin? What religious powers do they have? I think we covered this before, didn't we? almost similar. In Bahrain, we can say, I don't know, Tunisia, you have to explain according to Tunisian, rules. Yeah. From Bahrain point of view, we say, in Bahrain we have the Minister of Justice, Islamic Affairs and Endowments, who are in charge of selecting the imams, muaddins and khatibs. They appoint them, and they have a committee that selects and interviews the imams and checks their qualifications and their suitability in terms of their character. Then they will appoint them. Okay? They don't have any religious authority except what responsibilities they are given. They have certain responsibilities, like imam to lead the prayers and give maybe dars, or from time to time give counseling and teaching the congregation, the muaddin to call for the prayers on time, and to substitute for the imam if the imam is not there, and khatib to give the Friday sermons. That's all. So they don't have any extra religious authority like the other Christian priests and things like that. Okay. This is what we mentioned just now. So it is possible that the imam will want to be appointed by the community of the people. In some countries they don't go by the system. You could have domination. In the old days before the government changed the rules, people used to elect their own imams. They chose their own imams and muaddin. Nowadays everything is controlled by the government. So other countries may have a different system or procedure. Not this doesn't apply for every country. You may have a different system here, maybe in another country it's a different system of appointing imams. Okay? This is the easy, it's not difficult. Okay, what is the khutbah on Friday about? What can you tell me? It's a very easy question. So when we have the Friday khutbah, today we are going for khutbah, right? What are we going to talk about?
There is no
It depends on the imam.
There is no specific subject. It depends on the choice of the imam.
Okay, anything else? In general, what does he talk about?
It's to remind people about their...
Exactly. Yes. To give a reminder to them on a weekly basis about their obligation to worship Allah, to seek forgiveness for their sins, to do good and refrain from evil, and to keep their obligations to their fellow human beings. This is generally. But also what else he does also, that's the first part of the khutbah normally, the first 15 or first 20 minutes. The first part of the khutbah is about this. What about the second part of the khutbah?
Make dua.
Okay, before that?
Speak about what happens in last week.
Exactly. It could be continuation of the first, or it could be a new topic related to the current issues. He has to address some key areas in the society. Any problems, maybe political issue, economic issue, social problem, divorce, marriage, unemployment, economic crisis, political crisis, drugs, AIDS, crime, whatever, and recommend solutions for the people based on the Quran. So we tell them now, this is a good chance to make introduction to the non-Muslims, saying that Islam is relevant for today. Why? It provides solutions for humanity. Very important, because they think Islam is khalas, 49 years ago finished, no use for today. We are now modern people, we don't need Islam. No, we need Islam today as yesterday, because it provides solutions for our problems. Islam came to offer us solutions for our problems, because God told us, He has given us all the answers we need in the Quran. So if we follow the Quran and we apply to solve our problems, economic problems, political problems, social problems, all are addressed in the Quran. So we have to mention to them that Quran is relevant today as it was yesterday, and will be relevant also in the future. It's not limited only to the past. So this is a very good point you can add in this issue.
And to listen to the lyrics of God.
The lyrics of God?
Yeah.
Maqamat or what? We already say maqamat is a problem. The Quran recitation. Kalam Allah. No lyrics. So this is the words of Allah. They meant maqamat, yeah.
We can say it shows that Islam asks Muslims to be together once a week.
Very good.
For strengthening the community.
It's a good point. So I missed this point. It's an excellent point. Friday congregation prayers is to unite the Muslim community, because every day we go to a neighborhood mosque which is closest, so you know the people in your community. On Fridays you meet in a bigger mosque where you have so many different communities meeting in one place, which shows the unity and the strength of the Muslim community. So the fellowship becomes bigger, and annually we have the big meeting in Mecca. That is the international level. So you have the local level, the other one on Fridays, and then the international one in Mecca. So Muslims, this way they get to be united and feel as brothers. They're equal. They feel like one community, one brotherhood, worldwide. It's the way to build that unity and brotherhood among the Muslims. Very good point.
Sheikh, when
Now.
they ask why people might interrupt the Imam and ask questions during the khutbah,
They ask, oh, very good. I tell them, this is a good point. When they say, okay, can somebody ask the Imam or the Khatib when they stop anything? I tell them, how many people are here? 7,000 people, sometimes 3,000 or 5,000. If everybody was to ask questions, we never go home. We stay here the whole day. So we say, if you want to ask questions, you wait till the khutbah, the Imam is finished the prayer, then you can come individually and ask. We don't keep everybody waiting, So this is they're happy with that.
But can you ask him after the khutbah?
After the khutbah, yes. After the prayer is over, you can come and ask individually, no problem.
you can correct him if...
Yeah, correction is fine, but you don't have to give all these details to the nun. He doesn't need to know all these things. Just you tell him that we have to listen attentively and only ask after. But if you say we have to do, then they'll get confused. Don't tell them anything which is not necessary for them to know. So keep the information precise and brief, unless they want to know. So always give the right dosage. If you overdose them, you'll kill them. Okay, remember you have to give the right number of Panadols. 2 only every 4 hours. You have to spread your medicine. If you talk too much about something, then they use just talk about other things. So keep it brief, 2 minutes, 3 minutes maximum. Don't overdose information. So there are many points we could talk about it, but keep it to the main point. Okay, I'll talk about this, and you can talk about the average time for the khutbah. It's about 50-20 minutes. Some 30 minutes, 40 minutes, maximum 1 hour. That's it. Now what I tell them also, I tell them, this mosque will have it covered live on Friday. So you want to go just there, you can see it live on TV. For Bahrain, they telecast live from this mosque every Friday. But there is a small problem only. It's all in Arabic. You have to learn Arabic now, fast. So you can look at also Saudi Arabia from Mecca with English subtitles. So you can watch from Mecca if you want with English subtitles on channel 2 Saudi Arabia. So it's another thing, if they're living in Bahrain, that they watch us on Fridays from our own mosque. So these are some of the points. So these are some ideas we're giving you. You can also build on that. But as I said, through experience you can learn what to say, what not to say. This is another issue that comes up. Why are we not allowed to go to Mecca? Why non-Muslims cannot go to Mecca and Medina, for instance? Why, you don't allow us to? This is communist.
Muslims are not permitted to go to Vatican. So
No, Muslims are permitted to go to the Vatican. They can go. They're not allowed?
Yes, the Vatican is
just
not all the Vatican, but just
the last year, It's like, you could say, this is another example. So like you have holy places, which is sacred, like the Vatican. We also have this Mecca is a very sacred place for the Muslims. It's not a place for tourists. It's not a tourist site. It's a place of spiritual fulfillment for the Muslims, and it's a place which represents the pure Christian monotheistic character of Islam. So to maintain these characteristics of purity and monotheistic character of Islam, Allah has told Muslims that they should not allow non-Muslims to go there, because that could deviate, could lead to polluting this idea. Another thing you could say is that many countries have certain areas as restricted areas. You go to the US or Europe, this is off limits to trespass. You cannot take pictures of military installations. Other places you have to go get permission. So this is the same thing, mosques are off limits to non-Muslims unless permission is given. So this is because this is a holy place, not for tourists. There's nothing for tourists to do in Mecca. What do they do there? There's nothing to see. Basically, it's all about rituals and worshipping. So the tourist presence will only disturb and distract the Muslims. So we tell them, if you want to go to Mecca, you can watch on TV, watch on the satellite, they show everything live. But there's one easy way you can achieve that. You have to become Muslim. Easy. It's not a problem. Just become a Muslim, you can go to Mecca. Finished. What more you want? It's the visa. You have to get visa to go to Mecca. This is your visa. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Okay, fine. طيب. So this is the answer. You have it in your notes. Oops, sorry. Let me go back to the beginning. Okay. There we go. Now, 15. This is a big one. This is a common question What is this jihad?
This is my first name.
Jihad, you're in trouble now. You'll be faced with this. Oh, you're jihad.
No, so when I was in the United States,
Yeah.
I have a teacher.
Yeah.
She's from, I mean, she's American,
Yeah.
but I think she's a Jewish,
Yeah.
American Jewish. She
Yeah.
asked me the same question. Jihad means the holy war. I told her, holy, my name means not holy, just holy war. Means you make, I mean, you do your, how can I say, you make your life by yourself and you work hard and you make da'wah for fi sabilillah, you make many things.
Exert your most effort.
I give to her a lot of arguments.
Excellent.
She doesn't accept.
Yeah.
I mean, في الأخير, she asked me, your name means the holy war, just the holy war. Yes, I told her, yes, the holy war, yes, the aims of Islam, that's it. Not all of people, you know.
Okay, that's a good one. Anybody has another addition to that? Anybody can tell me what is jihad? How can we explain jihad to the non-Muslims? First of all, do you have anything in the Quran which says holy war, harb muqaddasa? No. This is not in the Quran. Where did this holy war come from? Crusades, Christians. From the Christians, crusades. It's not us. It's actually not us. The Christians waged the holy war against us. So actually they're using this against us, but it's not actually Muslims who waged holy war. It's the Christian terminology. The crusades were done by the Christians against Muslims to reconquer the Holy Land. And they use this term, not the Muslims. So jihad, as I said, it means to exert your most effort or struggle, to struggle. Just 3 levels. The first level is individual level. To make struggle against your evil desires and inclinations. Jihad al-nafs, which is the greatest jihad. The second level is on the social level. Amr bil ma'ruf and nahy munkar. Command what is good, forbid what is evil. To change the corruption and evil in society, to make a society better. It's done by peaceful means, by your tongue, or if you have power of that, with your hand, if not with your tongue, and least with your heart. So we know there are 3 things. Then you have also the jihad, which is referred here, is the way you have military combat. This is the 3rd level of jihad, which is the involving fighting an enemy, whereby Muslims are in a military conflict with an enemy. Somebody is trying to occupy your country, or you are defending your rights. Someone's trying to attack you or attack your family. Then you have the right to defend yourself. So when you have to exert jihad to remove also oppression and injustice, we allow Muslims to wage war on other countries who are oppressing other people, to establish peace and justice. And just be for the sake of Allah, not for getting material gains or benefits. It has to be done in the name of Allah, according to the teachings of Allah, and by the conditions, which is not to kill women or children or elderly people, or destroy houses or property, or destroy buildings or crops without any reason. And it has to be only fight those who fight you, don't kill civilians. So this is the strict conditions we have to follow. And if they incline to peace, we have to incline to peace. So the jihad we are talking about is a different jihad, not the holy. There's not a single word in the Quran that talks about harb muqaddasa. There's no holy word in Islam. War cannot be holy. We have what called jihad is struggle, exerting your efforts to achieve a noble goal. And this can be on the individual level, on the social level, and on the military combat level. Different levels of jihad. Okay?
Excuse me.
No.
They can go back to history and say that Muslims have made wars to spread Islam.
Islam was spread by the sword.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good point. This is misconception. This actually is one of the great misconceptions which I wanted to do in a separate program. If I come in the future and talk about the misconceptions which are common about Islam, then this is separate. But I could just address this issue. You can tell them, look, give them an example. You say, which army went to Indonesia? The most populous Muslim state today is Indonesia. We have many Muslims in Malaysia and Philippines. Which army of the Muslim went there to make Islam to them? There's no Islam. Many countries did not go into Islam except through trade, through Muslim traders. We have jihad of the sword, but the sword of intellect, not the sword of, through the intellect.
No, they can state some examples that.
Yeah, we do have.
Countries that was.
Islam fought the people who put barriers, who erected hindrances for people to know about Islam. The idea was that this jihad was way to remove these barriers. When the Muslims fought against the Persians and the Romans, they were preventing anybody from accepting Islam. So Islam allows us to fight those establishments or political organizations which prevent people to know about Islam. Then they're free to choose. Nobody's imposed upon. Once these barriers are removed, then the people are given the choice to accept or not to accept. So the war is waged only to remove those tughat, or the enemies who put barriers from the people knowing about the message of God. Once the freedom is given, the people are free to choose. There's nobody is forced. In fact, in history, you have many cases. There's one city which was conquered by the Muslim army without being warned. They had to give a warning to them first. And these people, they were non-Muslims or Christians. They were reported to the Khalifa at that time that this military commander entered our city without giving us a warning or giving us the three choices. And he did not follow your rules. So he was called back and he was told by the Khalifa he has to get out of the city and give them a warning. And then he will, if they don't accept to pay jizya or something, then he can attack them. So they had to withdraw from the city. And the people, when they saw this justice of Islam, they accepted willingly, so we accept. This is Islam. Yes.
But these sisters answered this question.
What jihad?
No,
or sword.
The sword.
Sword of intellect, yeah.
He said that the sword in the Quran is not given any time in Quran, but in the Bible it is given 200 times in the Bible.
Yes.
Say in Quran it is not given same meaning. Husam, Qata. Those people in Quran, but
in the Bible many times, yeah.
More than 200 times.
Yes, Bible actually the most verses which talk about fighting and killing more than what's in the Quran, which is actually, they show there's too much emphasis on killing and violence, and that to destroy everything. And it is actually the Bible should be the one that actually the Christian should be told to look at those verses instead of condemn what the Quran says. But you see, the problem is the name, the word Arabic jihad is got to be mixed up because they see the Muslim mujahideen, or they say Allahu Akbar and they destroy this. They think this is jihad, killing people. We tell them no, jihad is not like that. It is not done like that. It has a specific rules. Only the Imam, the head of the Muslim community, can make this with the approval of the Muslim scholars in that country, and that's done with strict conditions and for the sake of Allah, based on justice, to establish justice, remove oppression, and it's not anybody can go for that. So there's certain rules that have to be followed. And only a Muslim society, a Muslim can do the jihad. So not anybody, Tom, Dick and Harry can make jihad. But of course, jihad on yourself, you do it yourself. Jihad in the society, you can't do any Muslim, but jihad on the military level has to be done by the Imam. It has to be applying Sharia first, it has to be living by the Islamic Sharia, and it has to be the approval of the Muslim scholars for a valid Islamic course. Okay? So the very strict condition, and you can research this about fiqh of jihad, yes.
And the same subject, he will ask also about 11th September.
No, this is...
It is related.
See, we say this does not reflect the concept of jihad in Islam, because Islam, as I mentioned before, jihad means you fight those who fight. You cannot kill innocent people. See, this is wrong, and we cannot accept that what they did was right. Okay, there are many people who do many things. It doesn't mean that this is correct Islamically. Now, we know that Americans, they're killing people in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Palestine, everywhere. And it is allowed for those people there to fight them back. Okay, those people in those countries should fight those people who fight them. Like the Palestinians have the right to fight the Jews who are oppressing them. The Chechens fight the Russians, and the people of Iraq to fight those who are oppressing. So everybody has a right to win, but the Ummah as a whole should help them, with whatever help they can to remove this oppression. But we don't have a right to go and kill innocent people in the other countries. This is because it is not in our capacity to decide that. It is for the heads of, because what is the consequences is worse. Now if they kill 5,000 people in this attack, how many Muslims have died? Millions. How many countries have been destroyed? So the consequences are disaster. So we have to think. So Muslims should not take the matters so easily. You have to think of the consequences of what we are doing. So when some groups, they think they're doing the right thing, they're destroying the ummah. They're destroying the ummah. They're destroying millions of homes. Millions of people are dying because of these stupid reasons. So we have to think carefully. We should not take this into our hands. This must be decided by the scholars, Ahlul Hal wal Aqd, and the imams of the country. Not anybody can decide about this.
Actually, which imam?
Now we don't have. When the Muslim Ummah is united, then we can invite jihad. But at this stage, no Muslim can, because we're divided. We are weak. We don't have a proper Islamic system. We have to establish Islam first. Before we make jihad, there has to be Islam established with justice, with Sharia and everything. Then if we apply, then we have a right to do that. Otherwise, there's no point in
So, teacher, we have obstacles from the West and from our government here in Islamic countries. You know, the first enemies of Islam, they're not the West. The West, we know them. We know that they are enemies of Islam. But the first enemies are the Muslims that they think, I mean, they do best, like the government of Islamic countries.
Yeah.
Well, this is the big problem, you know. If we talk with them and we need Sharia and we want to applicate in our countries, they don't want it, they don't believe it too.
So, this is true, it's a problem. But as I said, وَجَاهِدُ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. Allah said, make jihad with the Quran against those people. Jihad is not only by sword. The jihad of the pen is greater than the sword. The pen is greater than, because by spreading knowledge, by spreading the true teaching of Islam, this is the way to make jihad. Now, we don't have the ability to fight the enemies at this stage with military confrontation. This is out of question. This is suicide. Islam should not, Rasulullah spent 13 years in Mecca only by calling people. He didn't use any. When he had the power, the ability to establish, then he had an army, then he could do jihad with the enemies. So everything has its proper time and context. Right now we should spread Islam, teachings of Islam. Call people to Islam peacefully, with hikmah, with wisdom, with the right approach. No need to fight the people. You call them and leave it to Allah. Allah has promised Himself, He will give victory to the believers. وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم ولا يمكنن لهم دينهم الذي ارتضى لهم ولا يبدلنهم خوفا من بعد خوفهم أمنا يعبدونني لا يشركون بي شيئا. يعبدونني لا يشركون بي شيئا. إخلاص والتوحيد. If there's no ikhlas, no tawheed, no promise. So we have first to make jihad against ourselves. As Muslims, we are away from Islam. Most of us don't even do the basic requirements. The best jihad now is for ourselves and our societies. We have to put our house in order. The enemies will always be there. We cannot avoid it. But at this stage, we are weak, we are divided, we are away from how can we fight them? We have to first build ourselves. The strength, it's not the enemy, the problem is our mistakes, our weaknesses. If Muslims were strong with Iman, they followed Islam, they committed themselves truly to Islam, Allah will give them victory. This is a promise from Allah. The Sahaba, they were so weak before, but see how Allah brought them because they were sincere and committed. But if we don't follow Islam, we cannot expect Allah to give us victory over the enemies. Our own sins are our worst enemies. Omar, he wrote to his commanders and said this, the most thing I fear about not your enemies, your sins. He said, you be careful. And he used to give say to his commanders, fear Allah. And know that your sins are greater enemies to you than the swords of your enemies in the battle. So our worst enemies are ourselves. This is the reality. If Muslims are good and they follow Islam, Allah will give them victory over. Nobody can defeat them. But they have to follow Islam. So don't blame everything to the enemies. We have enemies in ourselves and also in our own societies. So we have to first change our societies to be Islamic in everything. If we apply Sharia, we apply all the things of Islam, Allah will give us victory over the enemies. But we have to be first committed and sincere in our faith. So we have to start with ourselves. Then we can go on to another, then will start with himself, his family, then his close, then slowly to spread, inshallah. So I believe that this is the right way. You cannot do it differently. It will take time, yes. It may take 50, 100 years, 100 years, no problem. But we have to study. There's no way to change society overnight, impossible. It will take time. And da'wah will spread slowly. So da'wah is the best jihad now, to make da'wah for Allah, for the Muslims and the non-Muslims. Muslims need also to be Islam. We need Islam for the Muslims and we need da'wah for the non-Muslims at the same time. So we have many people doing da'wah for Muslims, but most people neglect the non-Muslims. So I believe we can do both same time. Some people should work on this, some people should work on this. There's no problem. Yeah.
Some Muslims don't accept the da'wah because they say we are not Muslims and we say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa Muhammadur Rasulullah. We are Muslim, but we don't need a da'wah, we don't need something like this. We are Muslims.
Allah said, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So I'm only reminding you. You don't say you're not a non. You see, da'wah doesn't mean you have to tell me you have to do. No, you tell him this is only nasiha. الدين نصيحة. قال لله ولرسوله ولكتابه وللأئمة وعاماتهم. It includes everybody. So it means nasiha and باب الذكر. فذكر فإن الذكر تنفع المؤمنين. You say you're not a mu'min. This is to remind you. So the problem thing you tell me is like I'm kafir or I'm fasik. No, it's not like that. It means even the believer needs to be reminded because practice, yeah. We have to remind each other. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. لَا بُدَّ مِنْ تَوَاصٍ. If you don't do this, then what will happen? Islam will disappear. So we have to tell them this is necessary to maintain the Islamic character of the society. If you don't do this, then we'll forget about Islam. The corruption will continue and things will go in the other way.
The problem, Sheikh, it's not the Muslim people. It's not a big problem.
Yeah, what's the
problem? Is the حكام العرب.
كما تكونون يولى عليكم كما تكونون يولى عليكم. If the people are good, Allah will make a leader from among them. If the people are bad, Allah will keep the same leader like that. Because based on how you are. The leader who chooses the leader, Allah. قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك من تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل بيدك إنك كل شيء قدير. We saw so many leaders falling. Who took it away from them?
They were choosing, teacher.
No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows whom to give the mulk. Even though somebody may, but because of our sins, somebody will be put to oppress us because of our sins. Because maybe we are not doing good. So Allah put somebody who is a tyrant, but if we are good, Allah put a good person to lead us. Leave this matter to Allah. Don't let the leadership bother you. You worry about yourself and your people under you. You are dependent. Allah will not ask you about the Khalifa or the Imam. What did you do about Islam? For yourself and your family and your children. For your society. That's all. That's within your capacity. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. You have to do what you can within your capacity. You don't have to worry about the Khalifa or this is their problem. They will have to answer to Allah. You do your duty towards Allah and towards those around you, and let Allah ask the Khalifa what he did. So certain things we cannot change it. It's not in our hands. You first change yourself, change your family, your relatives, your society. What you can do, this is what you should do. Beyond that, leave it to Allah. Allah is the one who will change our condition. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيْرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيْرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. First, we have to change what is in our hearts. Not just saying, I'm a Muslim, khalas. No, we have to change many things. So we have nuts. Muslims have nuts. If we are not ready to fulfill the requirements, then don't blame leaders. Leaders have their own problems. We have to blame ourselves. If we follow the Islam, then Allah will change our condition. So we have to change ourselves first before we expect Allah to change our political situation or our situation. We have to first change ourselves. This is the way to start.
And
we have to focus.
Each one has a responsibility in our society.
Exactly. Everybody has responsibility according to their position. If you are in charge of your family, those below you are responsible for them. Head of a organization, those below you are head of, according to your place, you change according to your position, according to your authority. What you can change, you change. That's all.
Sometimes, teacher, I know, كلكم راع وكل راع.
No, this is the
you can have your own environment in your family.
Yes, yeah.
But when you go
outside, it's outside.
This is the big problem. So you see, for example, your children. تربيه على الطاعة وعلى الواحد. عندما يخرج للشارع ويذهب إلى المدرسة معناه يغيب كل شيء.
هذا قضية صعبة فعلا. عشان كده لازم تكاتف الجهود. المسجد مهم. The mosque, the schools, the street, the family, everything has to work together. So Muslims have to make effort to change this. They must make effort to that. The mosque should promote Islam, the school should promote Islam, the street should be Islamic through da'wah. Through da'wah. You don't have to use a weapon. By da'wah. Making a move. How did these people achieve this secularism? By their own, using the media, using this, they promoted these ideas, still people follow that. We have to do the same. We should promote da'wah effectively. So once the people follow it, they will demand. Once the people all want Islam, they say, we want Islam. The government has no choice but to apply Islam. If everybody wants Islam, they said, okay. But now say, oh, half the people want Islam, half they don't want. Society is divided. No use. They have to please both sides. So they say, we'll use secular system. But if all the people, majority want Islam, the king or cannot say, I want to apply, say nobody, they'll kick him out. Finished. He cannot do that. This is the thing. Majority have to want the same thing. You have to make da'wah. So once the da'wah is successful, and naturally the leader will have to change. If he doesn't change, people will change him. This is the sunnah. This is the sunnah. We change this one. Okay. So this is the way this jihad came from. Jihad means to exert one's utmost efforts. It's not only what is to exert your utmost efforts to strive or to struggle. So it has all these different levels, as we mentioned. Okay. This is the level of fighting, and where you have the military confrontation and the rules and conditions of fighting jihad. Another one. Why do Muslims refrain from eating pork? Anybody can answer this question? Why don't we eat khinzir?
Because
it is bitter.
it is proved so scientifically that it isn't good for health.
Okay.
There is many microbes
that is a good point. Okay, it's harmful for our health. Okay, and so unhealthy for us. Any other good reason? That's a good reason. Anything else?
Christians do not eat.
No, Christians are eating pork.
No, in the Bible.
Jews.
Huh?
Jews.
The Jews don't eat. Christians they eat.
In the Bible, they eat.
The Bible is prohibited.
Yeah.
It is in the book of the Old Testament. Leviticus and Deuteronomy, they prohibit to eat this pork. And unfortunately, most Christians don't follow the Old Testament, and that's why they're eating it. I'll show you. So this is Quranic. It's actually Islam always prohibits what's harmful and dangerous. Islam, the Sharia came to to protect our lives, our religion, our honor, our intellect, and our wealth. This is the maqasid al-Sharia, and anything that harms us, whether spiritually or in terms of physically or in terms of our honor and dignity, is prohibited. And anything that is good and beneficial for us, it is halal. So this is the general rule. So we don't hesitate as Muslims to accept this, but just for the sake of argument, we know that there are benefits and there's harm in eating the pork. Now in the Bible, you have this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 11, verse 7 to 8, and Deuteronomy 14:18. And it says that, and the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He doesn't eat the cud or the grass. He is unclean to you. Of their flesh shall you not eat, and their dead meat shall you not touch. They are unclean to you. So the meat of the swine is unhealthy for human consumption, based on the Old Testament and also on the Quran. And if you look from a non-religious point of view, there are almost 70 diseases caused scientifically by eating the swine. Some of them are very dangerous and fatal. You could die from this. Like you have these worms, the pork eats, the pig eats all kind of mud, feces, everything, dirty things. Likes to be in mud, it doesn't like to be clean. It's a dirty animal. It's a scavenger, the baladia, it's everything. So what it does, you have these worms, they enter into the pig meat, it's very hard to kill them. Even if you cook, they say we can cook the meat in a very hot, most of them you cannot kill them, even by cooking for high temperatures. There's the roundworms, pinworms, tapeworms. The tapeworm is the most dangerous. If this worm enters the bloodstream of a human being, if you eat the meat and goes into your body, it normally stays in the intestines. It's very long. And when it makes eggs, it hatches eggs, it's eggs. If they enter any part of your body, it destroys that. Go into the brain, they destroy the brain. Any organ is heart, it destroy the heart, like very dangerous. And there's a skin disorder caused by eating meat of the pork, it's called trichonitis. It's incurable. Yeah, the skin is all spoiled. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the all-wise, all-knowing, He prohibited us from eating this. So I tell my visitors, why you have to eat this thing? You have so much choices. Eat chicken, each cow, you have lamb, meat, you have ducks, you have all this kind of excellent food. Why you have to stick to this dirty animal? So you have so much good choice. So there's no need for us to worry. We have so many good things we can eat from. Why have to eat this animal? You know? So this is one way.
Yeah. You know, can I speak in Arabic?
Okay, perfect.
الحيوان الوحيد اللي هو ضيوف يعني.
ايوه yeah. Exactly. It's here. That is the I didn't want to mention it, but it is the only animal that does this. It's unfortunately, and they say you are what you eat. That's unfortunately many of these people who eat this, they become like that. Their wife, they don't have ghira. If another man comes and kisses her, he doesn't feel anything. He has no ghira, he has no sense of shame, and he has no jealousy. Yeah.
It's about this, all the person, they are made, it's made. But sometimes you don't see some man or some woman made. I think they don't eat the pork.
But some Westerners, I've seen many Christians now, they stop eating the pork because of fearing for health, for hygiene. They're trying to apply, though they don't believe in Islam, but some of them out of their own choice, they decided to stop eating the pork because they found that this is dangerous. And some people say, oh no, we're keeping it in a clean place, it doesn't matter. But it doesn't, like, it will eat its own feces. What is the use?
Yeah.
So there's no point. So this is an animal that you should stay away from. Allah said you stay away and we stay away because it's very harmful for our health. Yeah. And for our religion also. If you lose your ghira, you're not a man. It's also very bad. How do you get married in Islam if you're not allowed to date prior to marriage? This is another common question. So what do we say to them? Get married in Islam? Oh, went back. Okay. What is the way Muslims get married? So they believe in the Western that you should date a woman before you get married. You have to get to know her, take her out to the cinema or somewhere and have fun before you decide to marry her. So how can we get to marry if you don't go out with the ladies?
We do it under a certain restriction in Islam. It has to be within the family members.
So say Islam, does it mean that we don't see each other? No. When you visit your family, you can see the lady, but in the presence of other family members. Now if a man wants to propose to a woman, his father or guardian should propose to the father and guardian of the woman, and then you make an engagement. So there's an engagement period of 6 months to 1 year if you want to know each other, if you don't have anything about her. And you can sit with her and talk to her with the mahram, or her brother or somebody should be there. But you're not allowed to go alone on date, like you and the girl, even though she's engaged to you, without a mahram or chaperone. So it does be a chaperone, maybe her brother or somebody with her, until you officially make the marriage contract or the aqd, the nikah. This is to protect the reputation of both parties. Because if this engagement does not work, then your reputation may be ruined. So people will not be willing again to maybe marry that lady or give their daughter to this boy. That's why you have to have the chaperone to protect the reputation of both sides. Because engagement is not marriage. You can decide to change your mind anytime. But once the marriage contract is done, then they can go out on wherever they want, there's no problem. So this is the way. There's also another way to get married through arrangement. You can talk through your auntie, your mother, your sister. They can look for you somebody who is fitting for you. And some people, they find for themselves. Different ways, yes.
The translation of mahram, chaperone, how do you spell it?
Close relatives that you could not legally marry in Islam.
No,
Close,
how do you spell it?
mahram? Chaperone, chaperone, chaperone.
Mahram. And the meaning of jihad. Niyya.
Okay, jihad, meaning of jihad, struggle. To struggle.
It's not holy war.
No, struggle, strive, utmost. To put this first, utmost strive, utmost struggle. To exert your most effort. Exert your utmost efforts.
Utmost is not measured sabilillah.
No, يعني قصارى جهدك. هذا قصارى جهدك. Exert your utmost effort. Exert your best effort. Most قصارى جهدك. You say it's a struggle, it's a strive, but with the exerting your most efforts. Means that you do your best, you know, with the best possible efforts. طيب. So any questions about dating? So we don't date in Islam, we get married, that's it. It's faster. Shortcut. You can make it nice, funny answers. No need to worry about all these details. Okay?
Expensive.
Okay. We don't want to waste our money. Okay, this is the answer. Number 18. Is divorce allowed in Islam? A divorced man and woman allowed to marry? What do you say?
Yes. Allowed in Islam, but after some time it's not allowed to remain.
Okay, technically, just not forget about 3. So, to divorce in the first place, is it permitted or not?
Yes.
Abghadul halal. It is allowed, but it's the most detestable among the lawful things that Allah permitted. Is it the first thing you should do or is the last thing? The last thing. So divorce is not encouraged, but it's permitted in a situation where there's irreconcilable differences, where the two parties cannot reconcile. Normally you don't rush to divorce. You try to sort it out between you and your wife, peacefully between you and each other. If not, then you appoint somebody from your side and she appoints somebody from her to make peace. وإن خفتم شقاق بينهما فابعثوا حكما من أهلها وحكما من أهله إن يريد إصلاحا يوفق الله بينهما. So there is a need to appoint arbitration between the two sides. If it doesn't work, then you go to the Sharia courts and they decide. Nowadays, you don't make divorce yourself, you have to go to the Qadi, Mahkama. He will decide whether it's ground for divorce or not. Before everybody can divorce, just right, now it's not allowed. In Bahrain, they have to go through the Sharia courts. They will decide if it is valid or not. Normally, they give you 3 months cooling period. Cool down. They say, okay, come back after 3 months. Then come back after 3 months. So sometimes people divorce and just leave, but they want to give you a chance to reconcile as much as possible. So divorce is permitted on valid grounds. You don't divorce for, you should only divorce for very big issues, not small issues. Like suppose in fact somebody is not faithful, that is possible. Maybe one of the parties has contracted a deadly disease, so it's not safe for the other party to be affected. Or maybe he's a drunkard, alcoholic, is abusing his wife, things like that. But for small issues, not encouraged to divorce. Okay? So Rasul said, "La yafraq mu'min mu'mina in kariha mina khuluqan radiya mina khuluqan akhar." So always divorce should be the last thing on our minds. طيب. But are they allowed to get married again after divorce? Yes, but the woman has to wait for the iddat period, which is about 3 menstrual cycles, or roughly 3 months. So, woman allowed to remarry after at least waiting for to make sure that she's not pregnant from the previous husband. Okay. Now, why do they ask this issue? The non-Muslim. What is the reason why they're asking this question?
Because they can't do it in Christian.
Yeah, many of them can't do it in their countries. It's very difficult to divorce. It's easy to marry, but it's hard to divorce. It's big job. I mean, many Catholics, they have problem. You have the man has divorced, he doesn't live with his wife, but he cannot divorce her and he cannot remarry. So what does he do? He has a legal relationship, he has mistresses and all his girlfriends, and is living in sin. Because he can't divorce his wife, they are supposed to be married forever, and he cannot stay with her. So they live separately, and everybody has their own relationship. So it's all haram fi haram.
They have children.
Yeah.
And live like family, but they They are not married.
Yeah, they're like separated. But yeah, this is disaster. So you see, Islam is the middle path between the extremes of Christianity and the other side, which is the Jewish religion, which is, so other religions which are so free, you give divorce freely, other religions, and the other side, which is the Catholic, they are not allowing divorce at all. So, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. In everything you find Muslims are wasat, between the two extremes. They are moderate. This is the Islam, the moderate path. We don't have Bulul Nasara or the Tahrif al-Munharifin. So we are in the middle. In everything about Isa, about anything from Muslim's position is the middle position. طيب. So marriage is allowed after, but this is the procedure. You don't rush to divorce. You have to start first by reminding her, and there's also and you can if there is a problem, you first remind. If not, then you abstain from sexual relationship. Appointing a representative from both sides, and then of course if no other solution, you go to the Sharia courts and they will decide about this matter. For you?
Check.
No.
Some people don't believe in Isa alayhi salam.
Who, Muslims?
No, some Christian.
They don't believe in Isa, it's not a Christian.
No.
Whoever doesn't believe is not a Christian is best of Jesus.
Some people live in the country of Christians. They don't believe in Isa alayhi salam.
Maybe they are atheists. And they are agnostic. That's okay. If he doesn't believe in Isa, he's not a Christian. And he could be agnostic, atheist. They don't believe in God or anything.
What they do is they want to marry not in the church.
They go in the civil marriage. In other countries, you have civil marriage. Like America, there are civil marriages where you just go and you pay some money and they register. That is in America, but the church is another thing. You can have both. They normally do both. They first marry the church and go register civil marriage. In Islam, you have the Sharia courts. That's it. It's both civil and Sharia at the same time.
And then they can divorce it.
Civil where? Some they divorce through the civil courts, but it's a big problem in America to divorce. It's easy to marry. If you get divorced, you spend millions for the lawyers and you go into bankruptcy. They'll take everything from you. The wife will take everything. So many of the people who got married to these ladies, they suffered a lot because the government will give them maybe half of your property, everything. They have more power than the men. So men, they are suffering because if they divorce, everything's taken for the wife and the children. He's left with nothing. So it's a very difficult problem. In Islam, there's justice. The woman gets her rights, and the man gets, and the children get their rights. So everyone's right is protected. So their system is totally biased towards the woman. Okay, why is alcohol prohibited in Islam? Again, this is another of those common questions.
Because you lose your mind.
Okay, you lose your mind. What else?
Alcohol is prohibited not the same in the Christian religion.
Okay, they said Jesus drank wine. They have this in their Bible. In the Old Testament, yes, it's prohibited. Yeah.
In the
New Testament, prohibited.
Jesus said to the student, I will never drink it until the judgment place.
Okay, you have that proof in the Bible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which book, which Gospel? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John? Matthew. Okay. Basically,
and this verses prove that that Bible is not correct, or Jesus is not died. Because when the case Jesus is
when he been crucified,
one soldier give him to drink, and he drank. But the last day he said that he never drank it.
means a contradiction.
Yes.
Contradicts himself.
Okay.
The Bible has 50,000 contradictions. not one, so many contradictions. More than, Ahmed Didat has found 50,000 errors and contradictions in the Bible, which are so many. So basically, when you talk to Christians, don't mention these issues because it makes them angry and they will be irritated because they believe this is the word of God. So we talk to them from our point of view. So don't mention these things to the non-Muslims because they will take it in the wrong way, like you're criticizing their faith. So this is the central belief about resurrection. We know it's all false, but we have to be fair in our presentation. So what I say, talk about it from the point of view of, is it harmful or beneficial? What does alcohol do to us? First, it suppresses the central nervous system. You lose your mind. That sensitive part of your brain which normally controls your actions, so you don't do bad things or shameful things, will be suppressed and you will be doing things which you not even imagine doing when you're in a normal situation. So it takes away your mind and reasoning. So people do shameful things. They commit rape, incest, murder, and all kinds of terrible things when they're drunk. They don't know what they're doing.
They will say, I drink just a cup.
It always starts with one drink. It goes then on and on. Because first time you drink, you find out it's okay. Next time you take more. Because the more you drink, your body will get you, then you need more drinks to get you to a drunken state. So some people say we're all social drinkers. You just drink 1 or 2 glasses, that's it. But not everybody can control themselves. Most of the people started like that. Then they end up to be drunkards. Because alcohol is a psychotic drug, it gets you addicted, like drugs. You get addicted. If you don't get it, you feel bad, you feel, not okay, you have to drink. So what happens? Drinking is called the mother of all evils. It's the door for shaitan to destroy you. It's the best tool for shaitan to destroy any person. Because once you're drunk, he takes care now. He'll take you, kill this one, do that, everything you do, you don't know what you're doing. Your mind is gone. Taklif, as you know, the responsibility of us is based on our intellect. If a person is in his mind, it's mukallaf. So to know what is halal, what is haram, what's good, it's only when you are aware of what you're doing. So Allah told the Muslim, Ya ayyuhalladhina la taqrabu as-salata wa antum sukara hatta ta'lamu ma taqulun. You will be cursing Allah, it's not praising Allah. You're drunk. So al-khamr is the worst evil that is being actually marketed legally in our societies. They promote it as actually a good thing, but it's actually the worst enemy of the societies. It destroys the fabric of society. Marriages break down, divorce. Because of people are drunk, husbands are drunk, they beat their wives and all this problem. Or they rape their children and things like that. Road accidents, so many people die because of the drunken drivers. Okay? People are crippled. Government spend millions of money to treat these alcoholics. Okay? So many diseases. You have cirrhosis of the liver, cancer of the throat, neck, and all kind of cancers are there. Stomach cancers, and esophagus cancer, liver cancer caused by drinking, high blood pressure, brain diseases, all this because of alcohol. So we have to understand that this alcohol has so much harm that is the worst drug that should be actually prohibited. Unfortunately, most governments don't do it because they get money. They get high taxes and they make money out of this. And this is haram for us to do because Allah has prohibited alcohol and all intoxicant, not just alcohol, all intoxicant. Anything that intoxicates your mind is prohibited or harms your body is prohibited. This is the rule. Even cigarettes, they are also prohibited because they are harmful for us. So anything that is harmful is prohibited. Where is the proof? Where is the proof in the Quran? ولا تقتلوا أنفسكم. What else? وحل لكم الطيبات وحرم عليكم الخبائث. This is خبائث. الخبائث كل الخبائث محرمة. كل الطيبات.
مشروبات الوحيد.
إيه. They use nice names to deceive the people. This is how shaitan يزين لك السوء. At the end of time, people call khamr by different names. This is what is happening today. Now,
but the process in limited of alcohol, step by step.
Exactly. At the time of Rasul, that's a good question. I mean, good point, sister. What happened is, at the time of Rasul, the khamr was normal in Arab. People used to drink alcohol like drinking water. Every home used to have alcohol. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala solved this problem by hikmah. First He told them, khamr, it has good and has bad. but the evil outweighs the good. Then he said, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْتُمْ سُكَارَى حَتَّى تَعْلَمُوا مَا تَقُولُونَ. So what to do? They have to wait till after Salat al-Isha. They cannot drink till the day, till after night. Then Allah said in Khamr or Maisir or Ansar, رِجْسٌ مِنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ. Then they start pouring the alcohol this immediately, because now they are ready, took step by step. So sometimes you cannot get rid of evil immediately, you have to do it step by step. So Tahrim al-Khamr took step by step. Smoking, even somebody cannot immediately leave it, you have to do step, but gradually reduce the amount of cigarettes till he gets rid of that. Everything needs step by step. Even in Da'wah, somebody cannot become from zero to become full-time Multazim. Mustahil. You need time. So time is necessary. So when you make Da'wah, don't expect somebody from day one to become Multazim. Somebody, I see some people, somebody is a new Muslim, he just became Muslim, so now you have to make Qiyam al-Layl. This guy can only pray 5 prayers, you want him to make Qiyam al-Layl? It's not wise. This guy just started, let him grow slowly, his iman will increase. Sometimes you have non-Muslims, they still drink or smoke, let them be. Don't tell them immediately, stop drinking, let them be. First let the iman grow. Once his iman, he himself will live it. So we have problems with our dais. I've seen many in this, they used to tell this now from day one, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't play music, you don't listen to music, you don't go to the cinema. What is this? He says, I don't want this now. I go back. Not like that. Say, you tell him, you pray 5 prayers. Just come for the 5 prayers and be with us, that's it. Let his iman grow. Once iman is filled his heart, he himself will leave this thing slowly. So everything, step by step, step by step. This is the way. Not one time. You cannot achieve it that way. Human nature is like that. You cannot change somebody overnight. It takes time. The Sahaba took so many years to become like that. Rasul spent 13 years just teaching them La ilaha illallah, Qulu la ilaha illallah, the Aqidah, basics. Then the Awamir and the Tashri'at came in Medina afterwards. For the first 13 years there's no Tashri'at, no halal, no haram. Only Iman billah wa Rasul wal Yawm al-Akhir and Malaika and all these things, Jannah wa Nar. Because the Aqidah is the basis. Once the Aqidah is established, the actions will come next to that. Because the heart is the malik of the human being. If the heart is purified, the rest of the body will be pure. But if the heart is corrupted, all the actions will be corrupted. So we have to focus on the heart. The heart is your target. Like Shaitan is targeting our hearts. He knows. If he gets your heart, finished. You are done. But if your heart is pure and purified, Shaitan cannot defeat you. So everything has to be taken step by step. طيب. This is the other effects of alcohol on an individual, and leads to all these evil things. These are the smoking every year and other drugs. This also applies for not only alcohol, drugs, all things which are intoxicants which are killing human people, or which are harmful for our health, which cause you to lose your mind. And it causes financial ruin to many people. And on the society, you have these difficulties. Okay? So it's endless, the list is endless. It is the destroyer of societies. Khabaith, our society calls it the Khabaith. If you want to destroy any country, introduce alcohol. Then prostitution will come, all other things will come because of alcohol. It's the best weapon for the enemies of Islam.
Until the 60s it was prohibited to sell alcohol in the States. So for almost 50 years it was prohibited to sell alcohol.
Then they decided to go back and change that. Massage. اليوم it's halal, bukra it's haram. See, they don't have tawabit. The problem with them is the people what they want. People want alcohol, just sell alcohol. They don't want, let's stop alcohol. They don't have any principles which we have. Islam is a blessing from Allah. The best blessing we have is ni'mat al-Islam. If we really knew this blessing, we should thank Allah day and night. Many people are living in darkness. They don't know what is halal, what is haram. They just يتخبطون في الظلمات. We have the blessing of Allah, the Quran and the Sunnah. It's the best gift that Allah has given us. We got it ready. We didn't suffer for it. We only have to follow it, that's it. This is a blessing that we don't have to suffer like those. We know what is right, what is haram. Allah has explained everything for us. Alhamdulillah, this is a ni'mah. We have to thank Allah for it. So if you see those people, how they're suffering their society, if you say, I wish they were Muslim. That's why we have to work hard to show them the way. And Allah sent the Quran to teach us and bring people out of darkness to light. كتاب أنزلناه لتخرج الناس من الظلمات إلى النور بإذن ربهم إلى صراط الله المستقيم. صدق الله العزيز الحميد. This is the book that takes people from the darkness to the light. So teach it to the people, show it to the non-Muslims. We have to show them the Islam. Because most of them, they don't know what is Islam. Or they got the wrong idea of Islam and they hate Muslims for no valid reasons. But inshallah, this training will help you to be good da'is, inshallah.
Just a question.
Yeah, tafadhal.
About, is it prohibited in Bahrain, alcohol?
No. Many Muslim parliamentarians have made so much effort. And we got full parliament to ban alcohol. There we have Islamic people in the parliament in Bahrain. Of course, before there was no way to change it, but now Muslims have power. They got power into the parliament. They put effort, all the parliament people agreed, Sunnis and Shia, to ban alcohol. But what the government did, they take it to the Majlis Shura, who are appointed by the king. And they said, no, we cannot do this. They cancelled the rule. Until that parliament time was over, then they went back to square one. They are not changing, they are trying to always stall. Any Islamic program, they are stalling through this way. So the parliament is elected by the president. Majlis Shura is not by the people. And Majlis Shura have power over the parliament. This is the problem. So the people of this is probably the secularists, the same thing we have there, they don't want to apply Islam. If the Muslims come with a program like changing alcohol, prohibiting riba, they will come with another way to prevent it. Unless Muslims are in power, fully in power.
Two countries that they don't, there is no alcohol, Saudi Arabia.
Only Saudi Arabia and
Sudan.
Sudan, these two countries only. But other countries of Gulf, they have. Can we listen, please? She's asking a question.
According to me, I prefer the sign Da'wah. For my action, I can give the positive results in the heart of Arabs, non-Muslims.
Yeah. No, inshallah, this is good. Da'wah is the way. We have to make da'wah to the people. But as I said, you know, we can't change things, certain things beyond, like prohibiting alcohol. We know it's bad, it's evil, it's committing, but you don't have the power to change it. You do what you can. Create awareness in society about its evil effects. If Muslims do not buy alcohol, who will sell it alcohol? Nobody will sell. The problem, Muslims are the ones who are buying alcohol. I've seen in Bahrain, we have so many people lining up for this alcohol, and mostly are the Muslims. It is sad. Because what they do, even if they're not allowed in some countries, you have to have a permit, they go to the non-Muslims, they say, you buy for us. And he goes and buys and gives for the Muslims. What is this? So if Muslims themselves refrain from drinking alcohol, nobody will have bringing this alcohol. Same thing with prostitution. Why there is prosperity? Because many people, there's demand for this. If the Muslims stopped committing this, there will be no of these people doing this kind of thing.
For example, teacher, in Tunisia, there is a lot of Christians who drink alcohol, but they won't stop drinking alcohol. Last time I had on Facebook, they want the authority stop buying alcohol because they want to stop it. They can't. They tell, if you buy it, you hate me. I can't stop my desire to go and to sell it, you know, يعني لا أستطيع أن أتحكم في غريزتي أن أشتري الخمر. They want that authorities stop to buy alcohol.
This is a lame excuse. If they want, they can do it. Honestly, they can. Because if you want to stay in this country, you have to follow the rules. If I go to America, they tell me, you cannot do this. You cannot park your car here. If you park, they give me a ticket. They'll fine me. Or I'll go to jail. I will follow. Maybe one day or two. Because we are so weak. We are so weak. We accept anything. If you don't want to stay in Tunisia, go to another country. Go to another country and drink. Who prevents you? Here is a clean society. It's a Muslim society. You have to stay in Muslim society. Don't drink.
But such kind of excuse, we are not following the guidance of Allah.
Exactly.
It's just because we can't reach the alcohol. If I will go to another country, when I find the alcohol or drugs, I will take them. Just because I don't want to take them.
See, Allah said, أَفَحُكْمُ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ يَبْغُونَ وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حُكْمًا لِقَوْمٍ يُوقِنُونَ. This the problem is not the issue of this. The question, the iman is not there. Yaqeen ma bi, man da'if. This is the weakness of the Muslim. This is a Muslim first have to put their house in order. We have weak iman. If somebody has yaqeen, the Sahaba were not addicted to alcohol. When the Amr came, khalas, fantahu, all through the alcohol. Same time, because iman was strong. If iman is strong, everything is possible. No iman, nothing can be done. This iman is the key. The strong iman, you can get away from alcohol, from everything. If iman is weak, you do everything. Because iman is the thing that prevents you from these things. If there is no iman, no yaqeen, then there's no way to prevent these things. So I'm not saying 100% Muslims will all know. You always will have in every society, even Sahaba, there's someone drinking alcohol, there is to be punished. Then we don't expect every Muslim to obey and follow. There is one or two cases, but not like majority. It should be like small percentage, 1%, small percentage, minimize. You minimize the. So we cannot totally eradicate these things. We are out of time. في وقت شوية بس ربع ساعة كمل يعني بس آخر مسألة. So let us go forward. This is the last question. At what age are children taught prayers or required to fast and pray? Anybody? Huh? Fasting, song, siyam. Yes.
They are taught at the age of 7.
Yeah. مروا أولادكم بالصلاة وأبناء 7 وضربوهم عليهم وهم أبناء 10. So our Prophet Muhammad taught us to teach children to pray from the age of 7 and to be strict with them from the age of 10. Because technically the taklif or the obligation to pray and fast is on adults who have attained puberty. Now boys normally attend from the age of 15 or before that sometimes, but 15 is the kind of point, and girls maybe earlier, 12 years like this, from the commencement of the menstrual cycle. So this is the age it's encouraged to start teaching them, because you cannot wait till they attain puberty to teach them how to pray. We're too late, you have to get the practice. So we can even bring the children even below 7 to get to know the prayers and to be familiar, as long as they can behave themselves in the mosque. But at home, when the father prays at home, or the mother, he can teach the children also at home how to perform the even before 7 years old. This gives them like training and practice, so that later on becomes a natural thing today. They don't have to, start from, they're already familiar, so it becomes easy and familiar for them. It's so easy to become into the system. So it's like training for them before they officially are required to perform the prayers. Okay? So this is the way we treat the children in terms of the prayer. So these are the 20 frequently asked. If you want more questions, I have a book which I have. If I give you a soft copy, it covers many other issues, polygamy and other things and all this. But I will give a copy to the brothers here. You can take it and read it on your so many issues. Why people they slaughter animals? Why some are for Hindus, some are for the Buddhists, some for.
There is also an important question which is not mentioned here.
Yeah.
And I think non-Muslim people have preconceived ideas about it. And that's about polygamy and also about the rights of the woman in Islam.
That's a good point. Now that's a big question, and I think we don't have the time. So
there is no problem.
The polygamy, I have a separate presentation on that. That will take at least half an hour.
You can take it after, because very good question. Yeah. Here, many tourists with experience, the first question is polygamy.
Okay.
Why polygamy?
Afterwards, after when we come for the second session, before starting the documentary, I'll address that issue.
Inshallah.
جزاكم الله خير.